Welcome back to Prof E Plays. I'm Prof E, and we are picking up here again with Dreadfarer. We're going to do our second expedition into Lemuria. Just to let you know about my character. So my character, we started out, we got cheated. So, somebody took a bunch of our money, so we had very little money to start with. But we were very lucky in our first expedition. We found a couple um, reasonably valuable, I think. There's definitely something going by. Okay, it's trash, I think. In any case, all right, so we've had a couple, um, what were they, artifacts, right? They were reasonably valuable, which was kind of nice. So that means that we got some money from that. Oh, my camera's been cutting out occasionally today. I don't know what's up with that. In any case, right, we ended up though with some corruption from selling the stuff that we sold. So you can see we end up with this tin coin. It's curse number 7, which the tin coin has this impact where certain types of equipment may malfunction, which in turn can cause harm to you. Right, so that's really the big thing there. Now, one thing has happened since our previous episode, or at least since I recorded that previous episode, and that is that Dreadfarer has updated from version 0.92 to 1.0. Um, Looking at it, they definitely made some nice improvements. Um, in terms of, I guess, some of the navigation of it. I don't know that I would have organized the book the same way that they did, but it's fine. I mean, it's not my book, obviously. Now, there is one issue, though, that did show up in 1.0 that was not there in 0.92, and part of it is because of what they added to make things easier. And that is they added a page just kind of giving you the overview of how the system works. So let me go ahead. I'm just going to share this information with you. Um, and it ends up creating a contradiction within the book itself, right? So it says uh, the gameplay is split into expeditions, which we learned that, which are played in the following order. So first you plan the expedition, right? Keeping note of your money, gear, HP, and corruption. Choose an area to explore. You roll for a specific location. Roll for the remnant that you're seeking. Choose your means of travel. Acquire any gear, assuming that you're not staying in the same area you previously were in. Right, so that part we all got before. Now, the expedition itself. First, it says if prompted by the travel method, you roll a travel encounter, which we did do last time. We did that because what was it, an ocean encounter or something like that. I forgot about it till the end and then kind of had to retcon things, but it ended up not having um, any like terrible consequences or anything. It didn't undo anything that had happened. Secondly, you roll from the encounter table for the appropriate location. Then you reach the remnant you were looking for, write down how and where you found that artifact, the dangers you met along the way, and then you decide what to do with the remnant. Now, notice here, this is different from how it is described in 0.92, and in fact, how it's described later in the book. Right, so later in the book, it claims, right, that after you do the expedition, you have another encounter on the way back, right? So you actually end up with 2 encounters per location you visit. So I'm not 100% sure what to do with this. Um, because it really, like, to one degree, it feels like, okay, where was this? Okay, so let me tell you the other thing. All right. So when you go further into the books, this is page 121 in what will be the print version of the book. It says, right, so um, begin your sketchbook by sketching out regular things you encounter, flora, fauna, natural formations, perhaps ruins. After you do this, roll a d4 pertaining to the area you're in. That will determine the dangers you encounter. So that's your first encounter. Now, once you survive your encounter, detail how you eventually discover the remnant you're searching for. After this, roll once more on the encounter table to determine a danger you encounter as you leave the area. So it's still in the book, right? Just which page do you look at? Do you look at the early page where they give you the overview of how things work, or do you look at the later page where they tell you in this specific case you're going to have to do multiple encounters? I mean, my own inclination. I mean, I kind of I like the encounter, really the encounter sandwich method, encounter remnant encounter, but I think you might run into an issue in that the number of encounters per location is not very large, right? So that being the case, I think you might actually be ahead to only do 1 encounter per area. So do the encounter on the way in. If you make it to your remnant, then you just get the remnant and you go home. You don't have to worry about an encounter on the way back. Whoa. Moving that. Got a lot of camera wobble there. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do according to the most updated page, and that is one encounter on the way in. So that's how we're going to handle it. All right, so let's go ahead and follow the method then. All right, so the first thing we need to do for this next encounter is we already have note of all of our money, our HP, our level of corruption. So we need to choose an area to explore. Again, we have uh, four main areas and some areas that you can also kind of get to. Um, some areas definitely take special devices or relics for you to get there, and I don't have anything special that would get me there. Right, so options are the island of Sarah, the heights of Motag, the humid jungle of Desangle, and the Lazarak wastes. And then there's the deep Akara, which is only through the submersible and only if the Dragger's Bell remnant is on your person. I don't have the Dragger's Bell, so I can't go there. And there's something else which you have to get to by blimp or plane, and you also only if you, but the what's what you need is blacked out, which I think is kind of fun. Honestly, when I first saw that, I thought that might be a typo or something, but no, I think that was intentional. My guess is that the remnant will tell you you now have access to this other area. Because I have the table of contents, I know the name of that area, but I'm not going to look at anything about it uh, because I mean, what's the fun of that? You have to, you have to earn that. So what I'm going to do, because I did Straw last time, I'm going to go to Motag. All right. So the next place we're going to go is to Motag. So our expedition number 2. So it's Motag. Okay, and there I need to do two things. Right, so on the way in, we need first to figure out what the specific location is right within Motag. So I'm going to flip to the appropriate page uh, in the PDF. So it's the heights of Motag. So we know about it. This is an imposing land of sharp peaks and jagged cliffs. Okay, so it's a very mountainous region. Higher altitudes, harsh winds and thick ice covers the rocks where many explorers have fallen to their cold, lonely death. Okay. In Motag, the rock itself appears to be alive, rumbling with landslides and earthquakes. The Motagi people, strong and warlike, have inhabited these islands for eons. They're scattered among many tribes locked in ancient conflict. Oh, this is fantastic for me as a colonial coming in. All right. Well, I need to figure out. Wait, is that an encounter table? I needed the location table. Location. Okay, so that was the location table I was looking at. Okay. So to find my specific location, I will roll a d20. It's a 6. So I'm just going to note here, number 6 is the location. And that location is the Wall of Llagane. How you pronounce that is a fair question. The whole double L thing, that's something that varies so much depending on what language you're in. But okay, so I'm just going to call it Llagane because I'm an American. Okay. Is an oddly smooth, 3-story tall cliff face that jutted out of the ground during a recent earthquake, as if pushed by strange forces below. This imposing ridge cut through the small village of Llagane. Okay, great enough. Separating it into an upper and lower half. Oh, that's really cool. I like that concept a lot. In this wall, you can see the story of Motag in fossilized form. Its lower reaches show the petrified remains of enormous shells belonging to creatures that might have been as big as modern whales. Further up, the remains of an ancient catacomb system that was likely plundered by the original inhabitants of this town and then forgotten to time. Okay, so it's a town location. Okay, cool. Right, so number 6, it is the wall of Llagane. Just make a note that it is a town location. Okay, the other thing that I need to do first, now this is before I'm setting off, is figure out what remnant I'm seeking. Right, so again, we roll on the appropriate table. So I need to flip through the book, find where that appropriate table is, and I think I skipped too far. Heights of Motag remnants. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to again roll a d20. 11. So that is crawling mud. This strange creature appears to live inside or be made of mud itself. When wet, this living slurry will start crawling toward the thermal springs at the center of the island of Motag. This has made it a valuable navigation tool for the people of Motag, who often carried dry, crawling mud when traveling to find their way if they wind up lost. Oh, that's cool. One must be careful to touch the mud with bare skin, though, as it is incredibly caustic to touch. So you don't want to be careful to touch and be careful not to touch it, I suspect. But okay, so it is crawling mud. All right. Now, before I head off toward the wall of Llagane and the crawling mud there, I want to figure out what kind of equipment I'm going to take with me. Okay, so I do have, actually have money this time. Right, so I do have money because I sold some stuff. But, I sold what? An arrowhead, yeah, the silver arrowhead and some silver stones. So that's kind of nice. I brought in some reasonable cash. So $380. So one thing that I absolutely know that I'm going to do is I'm going to travel by blimp because of this. It's slow and stylish, features a comfy cabin, complimentary explorer kit. That is the thing that I want. The explorer kit itself is basically worth the price of admission here. Right? So there's an oil lamp, a Winchester, and a climbing rope. Oil lamp. So I now have a second one. Winchester and a climbing rope. Wonderful. Now, is there anything else that I want? Now, look at the various equipment here. Because climbing rope, I think it makes sense for me to have that. It says it breaks upon use, which, okay, fine. Winchester, it runs out of ammo each time that it's used. But you know what? I should probably get the bullets as well. So I'm gonna buy an ammo box. Okay. So first 140 for the blimp ride, which includes the explorer kit. So I'm down to 240 from that. And then I also have the ammo box, which drive me down to 210. Yeah, ammo has two M's in it, Professor. Oh, goodness. Okay. Um, Other things, machete, could be potentially useful. But I have a hunting knife, sure. Studies on the Lemurian language. I could do that, or I could also hire a local guide, which allows you during your next expedition, your guide will help you traverse its perils. During encounters, roll double dice and choose the result you wish. Leaves after the expedition. That's kind of nice. I don't know that it's worth $60 because I'm not that rich yet. Um, Antidote, sun lamp, harpoon gun, first aid kit, a local map, compass. Okay, I'm not gonna do any of that stuff yet. Um, Although a local map is not that expensive. Hmm. Yeah. Let's actually do a local map. So a map of Milchag. I'm down to 190. So that leaves me some reasonable cash to deal with stuff if something comes up. Right. So like I don't know if I get poisoned or something, that an antidote would be available. At least I could pay for the antidote, assuming that I survive my way back home. All right. So I think that that is a reasonable place for me to go ahead and start this expedition. So let's go ahead and see what we got to do then. Right. So I got all my equipment. We have our means of travel. We are going to go by blimp. Blimp does not require any travel encounters. We just float right over that. Okay. Oh, this is kind of fun, right? So where I live reasonably close to the home of the Goodyear blimp, or one of the Goodyear blimps. Right? And right now we're at the 100th anniversary of the Goodyear blimp. So they actually have three blimps flying around, right, my area. And I got to see them all at the same time yesterday because we live so close to the blimp dock, which was really cool. In any case, it's just a weird, exciting thing. So let's go ahead and continue. So we're going to roll from the encounter table appropriate to the location where we are visiting. So that is a town location in Motag. Right? And then we'll find out what kind of encounter we face and see if we survive it. I think we'll probably be okay, is my hope. But yeah, you never know. All right, so Motag encounters 136. All right. And then I need to adjust for the fact that there we are. So mountain, that's not what I need. Cliff is not what I need. Town, that's what I need. All right, so let's go ahead and roll and see what happens here. Number one. Okay. Says you notice more and more locals around town have started wearing odd outfits. Sticks and dried reeds tied together to give them the appearance of large wooden people. It's like Burning Man. As you follow them into the main square, you see them hoisting a tall, colorful pole in the center. Oh, it is like Burning Man. Under the thunderous music of horns and bagpipes, the townsfolk begin to circle the pole. Well, I don't like how this is going. Spinning wildly in a dizzying spectacle as they chant a song, louder and louder. In their hands are lamps, streaming spirals of light out onto the cold square. If you have studies in the Lemurian language, I don't. I decided not to buy that book. So instead, I don't have studies on the Lemurian language. The festivities seem to go on till sundown, the dancers taking their colored lamps and dancing out of the town and into the night. The lights can be seen all around the mountain, twinkling and moving as they continue to dance. That's that. Oh, well, that turned out way better. I mean, you know what I was expecting. Like I said, it's like Burning Man. I was definitely expecting to be a Burning Man. But in any case, that is not what happened here. Like, I was not, in fact, offered as a sacrificial uh, colonizer. All right, so what I need to draw then is here. So I guess I want to make some notes, right? So I observed a lantern dance. And it makes sense to me that would happen right here in the village of the Wall of Llagane. So the village of Llagane we know is here. All right, so observed a lantern dance. Llagane. Didn't make much sense to me. Found a little bit nervous actually. Um, Ended at sundown. Also, what I see here though, right? So we have the village with this, the wall of Llagane we know is this cliff face. So I'm just going to draw the cliff face first. Right. And I assume it's fairly flat on top, right? So we have something like this, right? And there are little hovels, right? Both above and below. And I think some of them probably got ripped apart, so I'm guessing there might be like some rubble here as well. And also some down on the ground as well. Let's add a little bit of depth to this, Professor. I clearly do not teach art. I think I may have mentioned before, whenever I do these drawing ones, it makes me think about I have a couple cousins who are like actually artists. Um, and they produce things that actually look good. Okay. I think some part of it is also I don't know that I have much patience either. Um, okay, so this is roughly what the village is going to look like. And then we know in here, right, that along this wall, right, We've been told there are layers. We can see that there are catacombs, right? So I assume then there's going to be a layer where there are like caves coming in and out that we would see, right? So I'm thinking kind of here, this middle layer is where we're going to see some catacombs. And I think that's just going to look like various holes. This one might actually just, because it's a hole, maybe something like this. I want to be careful not to end up drawing Swiss cheese. Right. And make it look intentional. Sorry, so there are some, so they're kind of squared off around, or like archways or something like that. And then down here, we're told there are very large shells. So potentially the size of a whale, so these should be really, really big. So the immediate shell that comes to my mind, because it's a fun shell, right, is something like a nautilus, that type of shell, so the spirally kind of shell. So I think I'm gonna draw something kind of spirally, something like this. And because this is a cross section, I might even be able to see like some of the valves in it. Well, one thing I'll also say, apparently, like speaking of real artists, the real artist that like designed this game and does that's like cool, creepy kind of art, actually did a couple Twitch streams related to like actually like playing through. Took like they're like 4 hour, 5 hour streams, that kind of thing. Certainly, if you want somebody that can actually draw, don't watch this recording. Watch what they do. Okay. All right. I will try to remember to put a link to that in the description. Okay, so got that. And then also, I can do something close to a clamshell, right? Yeah, I like clamshells. I guess technically I might be doing a scallop shell, whatever. Something kind of like this. Okay, so now the question is this crawling mud, where did I find it? Now, one thing that I think is worth noting, okay, because apparently I found it around the wall of Llagane somewhere. Okay. Um, I think it may be worth noting that, okay, we have these layers here. But I really don't like it needs to look like the cliff face is smiling or something. There we go. Um, I'm guessing the crawling mud might be somewhere near like where the fissure is, where the wall was like pushed up. So I'm guessing that somewhere around here. I'm just gonna note here the crawling mud was acquired here. All right, I think that's pretty good. All right, so the next thing that I need to do then, following the order as established in the new guidelines, uh, for our expeditions, if I can remember where they are. There they are. Right, so we did the encounter, we found the remnant. It says write down how and where you found the artifact and the dangers you met along the way. Well, I'm not one to add in dangers outside. This is something that um, I think it may just be a trait of who I am, honestly. But in any case, I'm not going to add extra dangers. I'm happy with my normal level of danger. All right. So I'm just gonna note here, crawling mud, not mid, crawling mud found at Fisher Point. acquired without incident. Okay. Then I have to determine what to do with that remnant on our way back. So that is the big question now. What am I going to do with this thing? Okay, so now remember we have a number of options when we return what we're for what we're going to do with it. So specifically, there are four options. We can return the thing, that is, we take it back to its rightful culture or resting place, if such a thing exists. Right? We could donate it. That is, so it goes to the Lemurian Museum in Motag, which is near us, right? So it can display it, so other people can learn about it. We can auction it off, which is best for money, but you have collectors, right? Will pay for the thing, or we could just pocket it, right? Keep it for ourselves. Now, in this case, in the crawling mud, I mean, to me, this one very clearly belongs to a specific culture, right? And that would be the people here. So I think it makes sense to me. I want to return this remnant, right? So acquired without incident and then returned to the people of Llagane. Right. And the effect of that is that I get to remove 1d4 of corruption. It does not remove a curse, but that also means I don't get any money from this. But which that's okay. Right now I'm feeling okay. I have $190 still from previous sales. This one, there's a clear place I can return it. So let's go ahead and deal with the corruption thing. So four. Oh, awesome. Awesome. So end of our expedition, we return, and our corruption is down to two again. That's fantastic, because that's going to keep us from having to worry about getting another curse for a little bit anyway. Yep. So I think that that is a pretty good place for us to leave off now. All right, so thank you for tuning in. Until next time, this is Prof E signing off.